Following up from IGN's article today regarding Pokemon Sword and Shield's DLC and Pokemon being able to level up in the wild and in trainer encounters to your team, there was a lot of confusion for that, and now we have a little bit more clarity. Merrick tweeted out today, and he said, so basically, from what we could tell, 1, level scaling exists. To what extent, we're unsure. That's where we left off in the last video. My bet is just trainers calling different teams based on what badges you have. That was my thought, that it's going to be scaling based on the amount of badges that you have and being in postgame. 2, there's side quests throughout. Excited for that. 3, it's essentially what the wild area should have been. Agreed. However, later on in the conversation, DeFreitas, from the actual person who wrote the IGN article, says, I asked specifically if I had a party of level 100 Pokemon if the DLC would scale to it, and Nintendo said yes. Of course, still waiting on additional details about the level scaling though. This is magical. This is gonna be... Now what this means verbatim, without any creativity put to it whatsoever. That means that the Pokemon that you're going to encounter in the wild area of the DLC and the Pokemon that the other trainers are going to have during your battles are going to be based off of your Pokemon. Now, a few things are unclear from that. 1, is it going to be based off of a single Pokemon in your party, meaning the highest leveled Pokemon? Say, for example, you have a level 100 Pokemon and the rest are level 50. Are the wild Pokemon going to be based off of the level 100, or is it an average? In which case, that level 100 and those 5 level 50s would probably bring the average down to about 60. Is it going to be based off of a level 60 Pokemon? And that also arises the question that, say for example, you have 6 level 100 Pokemon, so the first part of my question is negligible. You have 6 level 100 Pokemon, and if that's the case, the Pokemon that you're going to encounter in the wild area, are they guaranteed to be level 100? Or is it going to be a range? I think a range is much more likely. We've always had ranges of Pokemon levels, right? So maybe if you are level 100, the Pokemon you're going to encounter are going to be between level 70 and 100, or 80 and 100, or 90 and 100, or 60 and 100. No idea on those details yet. So because we don't have these answers, I reached out to DeFreitas, the person who wrote the article and who's been replying on Twitter, and this is what she had to say. I said, by any chance, do you know if it's just the highest level Pokemon, or perhaps an average? Like a team of level 50 Pokemon and a single level 100, would you encounter the highest leveled Pokemon? She replied, I asked how they chose level 60 as the cap because that was the highest level Pokemon I saw in the offhands demo, but then they corrected me and said I saw a level 60 Pokemon because that was the highest level of Pokemon in the player's party, and that it would tailor the experience no matter what level they went to the island with, including level 100. They couldn't really go into any more details or clarification than that because they didn't know. Again, she wasn't speaking to the developers. From what I saw, the player had a few Pokemon in the 40s, but the highest level Pokemon they had was level 60. The first trainer battle and the other battles that she saw after that had Pokemon between level 58 and 60. Unfortunately, she could only watch the video once. But based on that, I assume it's not an average. She then quoted her conversation with Demetrius verbatim. Demetrius said, the player who is playing in the video was already at a higher level, so the Isle of Armor followed that. Casey asked, hypothetically, if I start the Isle of Armor with a team of mostly level 100 Pokemon, then the Pokemon on the Isle of Armor would also be level 100? Demetrius said, yes. From the understanding that we know so far that, yes, it's a tailored experience when it comes to your leveling, that is correct. He also specifically said, for example, you start the Isle of Armor at level 15, the Isle would scale to that level as well. He didn't specifically say it scales to the highest level Pokemon in your party, but rather, that's what Casey saw. But there may be other factors at play that she didn't see, and that they couldn't tell her about. That is a lot of information that immediately clears that up. Me hesitant in saying you're gonna find level 100 Pokemon, which has never happened before except for extremely rare Magikarp instances. Yes, they would be level 100. I mean, I'm still gonna really go with it's gonna be a range of Pokemon, not just everyone's gonna be level 100. I also asked Casey if I was allowed to quote our conversation, and she said yes, so thank you for that, Casey, from IGN. I really have in mind the wild Pokemon. Know what I mean? Like, I'm not really focusing on the trainer Pokemon in my thought process. I'm thinking about the wild Pokemon. And if all your Pokemon are level 100, you're gonna find between level 80 to 100. That's what I perceive that they're gonna do. It makes the most sense. Now, the weird part is, you know the rare overworld spawns? Like, soon as you enter the wild area for the first time, there's that Onix, there's the Steelix, the Corviknight, the Clefable, the Snorlax, so on and so forth. Those Pokemon have predetermined stats. Their level, their IVs, their EVs, their gender, everything about them is predetermined and written in the game's code. At no point that you get in your game progression does that change. I mean, there is one change that, you know, it brings them up to level 60 in the post game unless they're programmed to be higher than level 60. It just raises the question on, like, are they completely changing that around for, you know, the bird Pokemon that was in the tree, so on and so forth like that. There's just a lot of information that we don't know and a lot of things to be excited about. It sounds like for the first time ever, if you want to play an actual Pokemon game made by Pokemon, that you and the opponents and the wild Pokemon are going to be level 100, now's your opportunity, which sounds amazing. Also in Pokemon Sword and Shield right now, you could get a mystery gift via the internet, and you're going to get your 4th hidden ability Galarian Pokemon, which is going to be Meowth, which per Circa has a really dope hidden ability. And there's also a mystery gift that gets you 50 big nuggets and 1,000 large candies. 50 big nuggets is a ridiculously large amount of money, and 100 large candies might be enough to get a Pokemon to level 100. So now seems like a great time more than ever to pick, you know, a team of 6 Pokemon, get them all up to level 100, and get ready for Isle of Armor. You could have, I mean, maybe not, you know, do the legendaries, but, you know, build a fun and diverse team, maybe from the Pokemon that you've been shiny hunting with, or just straight up do 3 starters, all close to level 100, and of course Galarian Slowpoke, because why not? Although this one's level 1. But yeah, it seems like the opportunities are endless right now. And more importantly, your adventure is whatever you want it to be, which sounds like the best possible thing. Instead of them saying you have to be in this situation, it's gonna scale to you, and that's great. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this, as well as a lot of content for Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.